I came here with my parents to Australia when I was about 6. I remember arriving in Sydney eventually. It must have been a Sunday because we got off the ship, and I can remember looking up, it must have been George Street, I guess, because the terminal was down there. Looking up the street, you could have fired a gun up it, there was absolutely nothing there. I went to lots of different schools. My parents moved a lot, so I went to about 8 or 9 different schools, I guess, or maybe more. We moved to Yarramundi, which was at the base of the Blue Mountains outside Richmond. It was a bush camp, a YMCA camp, and my parents had the job of running it. I think we were about 3 or 4 years there. So the end of my primary school period, if you like, was there. So yeah, it was basically running around in the bush with a few local kids who definitely were hillbillies in those days, but wonderful people. Yeah, really wonderful people. But it was all very basic and very kind of almost like the bush, you know, the pioneering bush myth. As I later came to understand it, it was just another place to be, another group of people. So I guess I learnt to be adaptable to different groups of people, and also to perhaps to see something, because I'd seen so many of them and been interacting with so many of them. I guess that might have been something to do with my interest in folklore as well. I guess you do observe, even if you don't know you are, you observe the mores and the customs and manners of the group that you're you know, trying to integrate with. And my mother wanted me to learn the piano when I was being the bush boy, and declined. And his sisters learned pianos. And when we went back to England, my cousin was a Dwayne Eddy fan, and he had an electric guitar. And he gave me his old one when he bought his brand new, shining, sparkling electric guitar. He gave me his old Spanish Army acoustic guitar, which was pretty awful. But he showed me a few things on that, so I started with that. And when I came back to Australia, it was the year of the Beatles and all of that, of course. So everybody wanted a guitar, so I had one. So I found a few other people that had them, and we started making dreadful noises. I started playing in a band when I was about 16. Yeah, so yeah, I was at school, and then yeah, kept doing that for a while, and then I got a bit fed up with pop music. I was interested in words, as I said, and stories, and I felt the sort of, you know, popular music were a bit thin on the on the literary side, if you like. The music was fine, but the literary stuff was a bit thin. So somewhere or other along the line, I discovered folk music. The folk boom was on then. You know, Bob Dylan, Peter, Paul, and Mary, that kind of stuff. And I found that the songs had much more content and story attached to them. So that was where I started getting interested and involved in folk music. We were singing a lot of songs about bushrangers and outlaws and one thing and another. I was thinking, well, you know, there must be more to it than this. There must be historical aspects to this as well. Here are the songs which have come out of that experience, but I wanted to know more about them and understand it better. So yeah, so that was the reason that I wanted to study it more. My honours thesis was on bushranging and social banditry, which is the idea of the Robin Hood character. So I looked at bushranging in Australia in the light of that kind of idea. So yeah, so by then I'd really kind of brought together, or tried to bring together, the history and the folklore. I learnt then that in order to use that kind of material in history, you really needed to be able to document it extremely well, much more so than perhaps you'd need to for any other kind of historical experience. So yeah, so it was basically a matter of trying to find ways and techniques of making historians happy. I was able to teach folklore, actually. That was the main attraction for me, really, to come here. I was able to teach a unit in it and supervise people who were interested in doing research and field work in that area. So yeah, that was a great opportunity for me. So and also obviously do writing and so forth, and continue to, you know, push the barrow along. So after, I guess, about 15 years or so of doing this, I had this very large archive of material that the students had collected over the years, and that formed the basis of the Western Australian Folklore Archive, which is now in the John Curtin Prime Ministerial Library at Curtin.